This Jason with Chicago News, and just a couple of weeks ago all these trees had leaves on them, but we really pretty much skipped right through fall and went to winter.
Winter is coming.
It's 20 degrees out, we're freezing, but we've got this brand new 2019 Kia Forte. They've completely redesigned it, and this is a really good looking compact sedan now. Kia's taken some design elements from one of their best looking cars, the Stinger, and integrated them with this grille and the front fascia here. Really cool headlights here as well, and they've kind of borrowed this four-corner lighting setup that Porsche's been using, and that's a theme we see a lot with Kia. They tend to borrow different design cues from other manufacturers.
Well, nobody's perfect.
We'll see more of that on the inside, and with it being so cold out here, I think it's time for us to head inside. I know it's a 2-liter 4-cylinder, there's all sorts of stuff to talk about it, but I gotta get inside. Whew. Nice and warm in here. I wish we had a heated steering wheel. We've got heated and cooled seats, which is definitely a nice feature. Not gonna need the cooled seats for a long time here in Chicago, but I got the heat cranked up, and it's definitely nice to be warm inside here. A 2-liter non-turbocharged 4-cylinder has a tendency to sound a little bit buzzy combined with what is essentially a CVT. They call it an IVT, but we all know it's a CVT. They're trying to change the name on us, but essentially it feels like it's slipping from time to time, although it does snap from different gear ratio to gear ratio. So it's kind of one of those combination CVT, kind of mimicking an automatic transmission. In addition to sounding a little bit buzzy, as you can hear, we're missing a little bit of that torque that you would feel if this were a turbocharged engine. So a lot of the competitors of this small sedan have turbocharged engines available, so we wish that was the case here as well. In addition to a really nice looking exterior, you've got a really handsome interior as well. Again, same situation as on the outside. There's some borrowed design cues here, which again is not a bad thing because they're only borrowing good features. You've got this center touchscreen here, which the design is very reminiscent of Mazda, as is the rest of this dash, with these round vents and the actual lines of the dashboard here in this aluminum piece. But instead of a non-touchscreen, you actually have a touchscreen here, which is a very nice, easy to use system. You've got Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, lots of apps available. Our test car here has the Harman Kardon stereo, which sounds decent enough. It's not one of the better Harman Kardons out there, but for essentially what is a budget sedan, these are all great features that are available. It does all add up price-wise, however. Our test car here is about $26,000 MSRP. You know, you can get a lot of different cars in this class for this. One of the ones that springs to mind is the Honda Civic, which is missing a few features. Cooled seats aren't available, but there are other features that are available on the Civic that are not here, so you get some trade-offs. You know, ultimately though, this is a pretty good value, and it's certainly a nice looking sedan. Small economy sedans like this used to make up a bigger part of sales for most manufacturers, and they're kind of a little bit forgotten now. Some of the Japanese manufacturers obviously still make them. The Koreans like to sort of copy what the Japanese manufacturers are doing, but ultimately people are buying more SUVs and crossovers now. However, in the city, having a small sedan like this is a great option. You've got usable back seat, you've got a decent sized trunk, but you've got a small car that you can park in a lot of places. Overall, ride quality is very good, handling is decent, it's fairly quiet in here. You know, this is a pretty refined little sedan. Again, just the biggest thing is I would like to see a turbo power plant. That would really have made this pretty exceptional. We got some good safety technology here on this EX model as well available. You've got radar cruise, emergency braking, you've got lane departure warning and blind spot monitors. All work fairly decently, and again, for a car in this lower price bracket to have these features available is great. Lots of power options as well here. You've got a regular 12-volt plug, USB to connect your device, but then you've also got USB 2.1 amp USB power ports, both here in the center and in the armrest. And you've also got a wireless charging port here, which is actually pretty nice the way it's stepped up from the regular place where you would set things. You can kind of set your phone up here, and it's wide enough that if you happen to not have a wireless charging phone, there's room for your cable to be on one side of it here. Or you could be wirelessly charging and have your USB cable come down here to connect for Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. Again, you can still be wirelessly charging and have that USB port. It is a little bit odd though that this USB port is glowing red for the power one and not for the connection one, and they're on slightly different levels here, so they've kind of made it look a little bit less refined by doing that. Not sure the thought process, or maybe it's just the parts bins that they pulled these things out of, but it'd be nice if this were lined up a little nicer. Interior materials are quite nice. You've got this piano black inserts on the door, you've got aluminum on the dash, nice leather wrapped steering wheel, and a lot of nice soft touch materials. It has a pretty decent feel overall. It doesn't feel cheap and thin, so they've done a nice job there as well. And again, you look at the evolution that Kia has made as a manufacturer, they've really come a long way in a short time and kind of shown what a manufacturer can do when they dedicate themselves to improving their product. Another nice feature for this audio system are the radio controls that are right beneath the screen here. You know, a lot of systems are going to where everything is on the touch screen, or it's on the wheel and the touchscreen and some buttons. You know, here you've got the buttons, you've got some steering wheel controls as well, but it's really nice to have a volume knob and a tuning knob. It's just, you know, again, easier to use sometimes than clicking through menus to change things, to just grab one of these buttons or knobs and just get it done. You've got a drive mode selector here in the center, which is actually kind of funny because you've just got normal, sport, and smart. And smart is just kind of an automatic way to select between the normal and sport mode, so ultimately you really just have the two modes. We keep it in the smart mode. It actually does a pretty good job. If you're kind of spirited with your driving, it'll hold it in sport mode for a few seconds. Once you calm back down, it'll settle back into the normal mode. Kind of a cool feature though, if you've got a manual mode in the gearbox here that you can actually select. Even though it's a CVT, you can select different ratios, and what that does is when you select that, it automatically goes into sport mode. It's kind of assuming, hey, if you're going to be taking over the shifting, you're probably going to want sport mode from the engine and transmission as well. So it kind of is a cool feature that you don't have to put it in manual mode, then grab the drive selector and go to sport mode. It does it for you. When you go back to automatic, it goes back to whatever mode you were in before. It goes back to the smart mode in our case here. As good as this center display is, the one that's in between the gauges here is kind of lacking. It's a little bit on the small side. You've got a section of kind of standard backlit lights below it. Again, kind of wish they would have made that whole thing a screen and integrated those warning lights into the LCD. Again, LCD technology has gotten so much cheaper these days. They're using some of these legacy warning lights that they've got in the parts bin already, and I understand that, but it'd be nicer if this whole thing were an LCD display. This 2-liter has 147 horsepower, but it's rated at 30 city, 40 highway, 34 combined, which are really good numbers. You can get a manual transmission with the entry-level version, but it actually hurts the fuel mileage. Usually it's the other way around, so they've done a good job tuning this CVT to get maximum efficiency, and again, those are really good numbers. I'm sorry, IVT, not CVT. Intelligent Variable Transmission. I'm also sorry for dissing the manual. It's really great that they offer a manual. More and more manufacturers are dropping their manual transmission options, and I think that's kind of a shame, so I'm glad they offer it. Hashtag save the manual. But Kia, listen, really, you should give us a Stinger manual. So overall, what do we think about this Kia Forte? Well, first of all, small sedans are kind of a dying breed with all of the SUVs and crossovers that are on the market, but it's still a great choice for a city vehicle, and this brand new Kia Forte is a great looking option. tons of features that are available. Unfortunately for 2019, they seem to have dropped the hatchback option. You know, you used to be able to get what they called the Forte 5. You know, I hope that they bring that hatchback back because there's a little bit more utility in that version. But overall, this is a great option if you're in the market for an economy compact sedan.